Hello, Illini fans. You heard yesterday from the Indiana side about this big Illinois-Indiana preview, but now it's time to hear from the Illini side. Welcome in. This is the Armchair Illini podcast. I'm Austin Berkland, your host, and you can subscribe to us at armchairillini.com and at Armchair Illini on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. But before we get there, look out for this next week, Illini fans. The Armchair Illini podcast is fired up to team with Hamilton Walker's Seafood and Spirits, hands down the best dining experience in Champaign, Urbana. We're talking prime steaks, fresh seafood, and a vibe that's perfect after a big Illini win. And here's the game changer, everyone. We are giving away a $100 Hamilton Walker's gift card on our social media during every single home game week. That's right, dinner on Armchair Illini. Follow Armchair Illini on Hamilton Walkers on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter to get in on the action and experience Hamilton Walkers, where Champaign Urbana comes to celebrate. And we have the lucky privilege to have Tristan Thomas of WCIA on the Armchair Illini podcast. Tristan, how is it going with this big Big Ten game week?
Obviously, a super fun, busy time of year for us. And how about this? Is a fun little old Jeremy Warner show reunion here on the Armchair Illini podcast. Excited to chat about, obviously, a big game we got coming up in Bloomington.
Absolutely. I mean, normally it's 9 a.m. and I'm exhausted and it's a morning show, but now it's at night. So this is awesome. A little Jeremy Warner show after dark going on.
Well, dude, I remember just real quick looking back, I remember us on air talking about the Raiders Hard Knocks, the Oakland Raiders Hard Knocks.
That is right.
Brown and all that, John Gruden, and got to meet John Gruden a couple weeks ago, which is a full circle moment. We've come. It was just destined to happen, right?
It is. Yeah, it is crazy. Like how long ago that seems, but yet not that long ago at all. Like it was 5 years ago. Whenever we were on the air, whenever I announced that the Big Ten tournament would be canceled and the Big East, Big 12 tournament, all of that going on, and now we're closer to 2030 than we are to the pandemic. But my goodness, that's a long way away, 2030. But we have a short time until Saturday night on NBC when the Illini travel to Indiana to take on the number 19 Hoosiers as the number 9 Illini. So what's the message that Bret Bielema and the rest of the staff are kind of sharing about this Illini football game?
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing I've heard from the staff, I think you probably heard about it at halftime or after the Western Michigan game, but they got to start fast. That's like the number one thing of like across the board. This team knows they've got a real test coming. Both of these teams, really, it's I think their first true real test. I mean, Illinois, of course, having the first Power 4 game at Duke. That's looking not almost in the same vein of like the Kansas game, right? Where it's like on paper, you're like, this is a huge game. And then a couple weeks go by and you go, well, maybe it wasn't that big of a win. But still the slow starts, obviously that Duke game was pretty close at halftime. A couple plays away in that Western Michigan game from that being a tie game. I mean, Western Michigan misses the field goal and they had the ball on the goal line and Kaneda Otaluga and the defense made that big stop. But 10-0 in the half and then pull it away from there. So that's the biggest message is come out ready to play, get in rhythm right away. And you can't fall behind on the road and expect to be able to win a big game in Bloomington.
What do you think the big reason is for the slow starts on the offensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I think a part of it, I think, could be some of these new receivers, still getting used to the offense and all of that. And it's just, for whatever reason, they've just been slightly off page at certain points between Luke Altmaier and some of these new receivers. But then I think the run game seems to take a while to get going. Bart Miller and this offensive line know that, a fast start starts with them. They've got to get more surge up front. And we've seen the run game get going, but again, it seems to take time. And that run game's got to help Luke Altmaier get in third and short, third and manageable, and help prolong some of these drives that would again help the defense get some time off the field and win that time of possession that the Bret Bielema team is so good at, right? So it's part of it is it's a little bit of the whole team, I think, taking accountability for just for whatever reason not being able to get off to fast starts and just really making that an emphasis.
What could be the big time lesson from the Duke game a week ago for this game coming up against Indiana? Two true road games.
I think when I look at the Duke game, the biggest things that stand out to me are converting in the red zone and turnovers. That's how you won that game. Like you could throw out the yards, third down conversions, whatever, but when Illinois got it inside the 20, they punched it in. Duke didn't. They settled for field goals or turned it over on downs, and Illinois dominated the turnover battle. That was a big thing coming into last year. Can you take the ball away more than, get back to that 2022 type season? And they definitely, improved in that area, and still got to see, continued growth there. I think especially on the road, right? I think back to like the Nebraska game last year, and like Torrey Cox had that interception that went your way, the call that seemed to, it went to a review, and, luckily Illinois got that for their sake. But that can do so much for the momentum, and can be in that game. Like Nebraska was driving, thought they had a touchdown, and then it's just the air leaves the building, and then the offense can, kind of swing the momentum. So I think especially on the road, like that turnover battle is going to be huge.
Grade the offensive line that you've seen these first few weeks of the Illini football season.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't be like too concerned about like this offensive line right now. Like I haven't seen too much to concern me. I think if I'm looking at points of, hey, they've got to get this going. I mean, the run game, like as mentioned, they got to get more surge. I think back to like the Bears Lions game. It seems like Detroit's offensive line is always just like everyone's just downhill. The tight ends, everything they get that they're falling forward for yards, all that kind of thing. And then when you look at Illinois, obviously a concern early in that Duke game was J.C. Davis, and getting beat on the edge in one-on-one situations, and letting their pass rushers get going. You got to be able to give Luke time to throw, and can't get beat inside on things like that. I mean, I'm a former offensive lineman, and I remember that was like the number one thing is like don't get beat inside. If they go all the way around and get a sack that way, that's one thing. But the inside pressure, the interior pressure is just it's so hard to deal with and overcome. So that's a big thing for him. I think JC really settled in that Duke game, and overall later in that Western Michigan game started to wear them down. Saw Khalil Valentine, Caden Fagan get the 100-yard mark, and getting those guys in tandem, and certainly if Aiden Lawfrey can come back and be a big impact player as well, that'd be big for this run game, and big for the offense as a whole.
Give me two unsung heroes that Illini fans aren't really talking about as much as they should. One on the offensive side of the ball and one on the defensive side of the ball.
Okay, so I mean, I think offensively, I don't know. It's like obviously Hudson Clement was a big addition, and then he hasn't done too much right now. I could go either, I think, Hudson Clement or Colin Dixon. Like you had the new guys, the exciting new toy that you hadn't seen. Obviously a fan favorite, a local guy like Hank Beatty. But then I think Colin Dixon, you forget he made some big plays last year. Had a big touchdown or a big gain, I believe in the Central Michigan game last year. He had a big catch in the Northwestern game. And a guy who has a rapport with Luke Altmaier, and trust that if he gives him a chance to go make a play. He almost had that catch in that Western Michigan game, so trust him with those downfield shots. I think I'm talking myself now into Colin Dixon to be the unsung hero on offense. I mean, on defense, there's so many different guys you can look to. I mean, obviously Xavier Scott is the guy that gets the hype, and I've done a draft show, and they're all on Xavier Scott, but man, I think Dylan Rosiak can come back and get going. Having a guy you trust to have guys in the right position to be the kind of the leader of that defense is big. They can get him back healthy on the field. That'd be a big thing for Illinois. I mean, he's shown the ability to force turnovers. Just a smart football player, someone is going to be on their P's and Q's. I feel like there's like 3 or 4 different linebackers you could give like the unsung hero to. Even some of these guys on the edge opposite Gabe Jacas, if Alec Bryant, who we talked to today, if he could have a big game, someone who's been in the program, experienced player, he's been on the road, he's been a part of big wins. can he have a big sack performance? That we're waiting to see. I think that's possible. As well as Gabe takes up so much attention from the offense, can one of those other edge rushers impact a game?
What do you think Aaron Henry is going to be doing to slow down Fernando Mendoza and that Kurt Signetti offense?
Yeah, I mean, it starts with stopping the run. It's a big thing for them. Can you uh, do the opposite of what you're trying to do on offense, but on defense? Get them in third and long and put some pressure on. I think if there's a way you can deploy Xavier Scott, because obviously he was an impact player in the Kansas game. He's always an impact player. He's a player that offenses are worried about and certainly have a spotlight on. Can you disguise him in a way that allows him to use his ball skills, his ability in zone coverage to throw off a Fernando Mendoza, who I'm gonna say this is the toughest defense he's seen so far this year. And even I don't know the teams he played at Cal, but I mean Big Ten caliber defenses, I don't know. So if you can find a way to throw him off balance, get some pressure from the front four, and have plenty of coverage guys back, that'd be a big help for him in this defense. And the turnovers is going to be is a thing I'm sure he's harping on to this group.
We'll get back with Tristan here in a second. The Armchair Illini podcast is pumped to team up with Campus Inc.'s official Illinois NIL store. Get officially licensed gear from your favorite Illini stars, Luke Altmaier, Terrence Shannon Jr., Kofi Coburn, and many more. Support your favorite athletes and rep the orange and blue. Use code Armchair Illini for 15% off today. This is the Armchair Illini podcast. Go to armchairillini.com for the best Kirkland's work and Alex's work. But we're back with Tristan Thomas of WCIA. Tristan, you look at this defensive line, you have Gabe Jacas, 3.5 sacks, and the rest of this crew is mostly transfers in terms of higher on the sack total. How do you think those transfers have helped Gabe Jacas to be a little bit more free on that defensive line?
Yeah, I think the front four, the down lineman, a guy like James Thompson has been big time. He's gotten a lot of praise from the coaches and what he brings, his experience. Also a great personality too. I don't know if you've seen some of his stuff online. Big Skyline Chili guy, big food guy. That's been fun to follow too. But you talk about Tomiwa Durajaye, another impact transfer, helping stop the run to where maybe you don't have to add in as many guys in the box. If you can trust more of your standard box in there to stop the run, that protects you from the pass, and obviously can lead to some more turnovers with more guys in coverage. So yeah, I think it's just in the run game for sure. Those guys have helped. But waiting for a real a James Thompson sack, one of those other guys getting after the quarterback and getting after those guys. Still waiting for some of that. That's been more of Gabe's specialty right away. But I think certainly in stopping the run, those guys have been effective.
What do you think the biggest weakness has been on this Illini roster so far?
Yeah, I mean, it's a good question. I mean, like as far as like offensively, defensively, like
anything.
Yeah, I mean it's the slow starts for whatever reason. The run game taking a while to get going, I think is got to be the biggest concern. Even it's not seeing it going right away against Western Michigan is, I think, concerning. When that's a MAC team you're facing. You should be able to really impose your will from the jump. So if you're getting into more physical games, obviously the Big Ten is known for that physical brand of football. You've got to be able to really come out ready to play, come out and show your physicality. You go back to the bowl game and Illinois really matched up, if not beat South Carolina in the trenches. You know what they're capable of, and that's why I'm not too worried about that group, because they've shown they can do it at a high level in the Big Ten and against an SEC opponent. It's got to take it's taking a while to get going this season. So I think that the run game as in general, like I trust Luke Altmaier. He's going to make plays. He's going to give you a chance. But is that run game going to help you control the game and control the clock? That's a question moving forward.
Where do you think the Illinois' confidence is at going into a tougher environment in Bloomington, Indiana, where was talking to the On Three guy that said this is the biggest game in Memorial Stadium history, the Bloomington, Indiana edition. How do you think Illinois can handle that kind of tough environment with the confidence level that they do have at the moment?
Yeah, I think they're ready for the challenge. I think last year going and winning at another Memorial Stadium in Nebraska, almost want to like it's the Rutgers game is such a weird one because it was just that last second. You know, how many times out of 10 do they lose that game to Rutgers, but they pull it out at the end. But that Nebraska one really just, a back and forth game. You make the winning plays at the end and silencing a crowd and their 600th straight sellout. I think this team is confident they can go on the road and beat anybody. Like this group, they've done it together. They've had that breakthrough season, and they've got the pedigree to do it. I think they're pretty excited about this opportunity to. They've heard so much at every availability. That's, oh, how are you managing expectations? How are you dealing with what is expected of you? And I think they're ready to just get done with that and really stamp their mark on, hey, this is a marquee game, marquee win. We're up to the challenge, and I'm excited to see how either team is able to pull it out, because both teams are in that same kind of like, we're Illinois, we're Indiana, we've got to go out and prove it. And I think either fan base is going to have a lot to say one way or the other.
Who have been some of your favorite guys' stories that you've been able to tell, whether it be from training camp all the way up until September 18th?
Yeah, I mean, it's so cool. All the brothers, the family stuff, like you hear about that. Even today on radio talking about the moms practice, like that was a Wall Street Journal article just got posted about that. And thinking back on that, like that was such a cool day and such a cool like thing. You didn't really know what it was until you showed up and you're like, oh, okay, this is awesome. I mean, Luke Altmaier, like just I think back to that Penn State game and how out like the fan base was on him, just to see his like rise and just the poise and the swagger he exudes is just like, it's a crazy turnaround to see from when he first arrived. Even like I swear every week we get something that's just like a cool story, honestly, win or lose. Like you get in the Western Michigan game, a guy, Ashton Hollins, who you talk about, you could name 7-8 different receivers without mentioning him as far as an impact guy. And last year has surgery on both shoulders, had an ACL thing, I believe, as a freshman too, and just to like see his like faith is such a big thing for him, and just confidence in where he's going to be either way. Just see go like guys like that have success is really cool, and guys you hope just to continue to have success. Someone like Gabe too, who's like he's just like unfazed by the expectations. He came in right away and was like, okay, lighting the world on fire. High expectations from the jump, and to see him just continue to be just a humble guy who's just here to do work and here to help this team win is really cool. Just a lot of fun stories, and guys I've enjoyed getting to know so far.
If you were to have to make a prediction, which way would you lean in this Illinois-Indiana matchup?
I mean, it's a toss-up game, single-digit spread. I think that's fair. I think Illinois is going to win a close game. If I had to make a prediction, I'd say, to give you a score, 27-24. That's just what I'm thinking. It's going to go down to the wire. And that final score may even be a little bit like, misleading. Like I could see a world where Illinois falls behind, makes a late rally, and is not quite able to overcome a slow start. It's just so many variables. And I think we're going to see right away what kind of game it's going to be like. And, is Illinois up to the task? I think they are, but it's going to be a tough task.
Yeah, I made this prediction at a bar in Indianapolis for my full-time job. I was there for a conference and got into an argument about Illinois, Indiana. And so my official prediction is 31-17. Illinois wins against Indiana.
Wow.
I think the physicality that Illinois will bring is going to be a little bit too much for Indiana to handle. And I think they're a more finesse team than they would like to admit, and Kurt Signetti would like to admit. So I have 31-17. I think that's just going to be how this game ends. But Tristan, you have been with back in Champaign and WCIA for 2 years. You're a local kid.
Interview too, yeah.
Yeah, you're a local kid. How does it feel being back in Champaign covering a team that you have grown up with and seeing it from a different direction? How has that evolved you as a Champaign resident and everything?
Dude, it's like it's so weird to even look at like the ESPN app and see like a number 9 next to Illinois. Like to think that Illinois football can be in a like category like this is just like unbelievable. Like I remember, going to games with my dad in the horseshoe and watching Tim Beckman teams like struggle to beat like mid majors and stuff. And it's just like this is like uncharted territory for this program. I remind Glenn and Courtney, my co-sports team members, like this is not regular. Like this is you hear about all the updated stats of first time in the top 10 since 2001, whatever. Like there's so many of those. It seems like it's really fun to follow and it's really cool to just see what Bret Bielema has done to this program and just the build and even like the down years being 5-7, like that's the lows can be a whole lot lower. I remember them, seen so many of those growing up. It's a lot of fun and it just gets you excited for what the future can be. Especially if this year turns out to be another one like last season, even if you fall short of the college football playoff, like just another like 9-10 win type season, what that could do for the momentum of this program when next year so many new players that's going to be the talk of a whole new roster, whole new players in new roles, and I'm sure transfers. Just what this program can become, in addition to what it already is just it's wild to even think about.
Absolutely. You got to take advantage of this veteran group and Luke Altmaier more specifically and really showcase the next possible transfer or freshman quarterback that what you can do in Champaign. So
Mhm.
I completely agree that this season is huge and vital for the growth of this program. But Tristan, where can people find you on social media and what does coverage look like for WCIA 3 in the upcoming weeks?
Yeah, so you can give me a follow on Twitter at Tristan Thomas TV, WCIA 3 Sports. We got a lot of high school football coverage, of course. Friday Football Fever, we got that whole thing rolling. Spotlight Game of the Weeks, we do previews of those. Our Athlete of the Week, we got those running out every Thursday. Had some great kids we've been able to recognize so far this year. Cover EIU football, my alma mater, as well. So Chris Wilkerson and that crew trying to get things rolling. And of course, a ton of Illini coverage. I mean, we're 5 minutes down the road from Memorial Stadium and State Farm Center. So anytime there's an availability, it's dollars to donuts. We're there. And of course, for Illinois football, for majority of games, a pregame show before the game, do that live. And then Bret Bielema's post-game press conference, we got that streaming on our digital channels as well. And I can throw in a plug for our if you have a Roku or Fire TV, we have WCIA Plus. We got plenty of exclusive content up there. We do the WCIA 3-in-1 podcast, and in addition to our newscast, a lot of content out there going out 24/7. So busy time, a lot going on, but we're having fun with it.
Well, Tristan, I can't thank you enough for making me and the Armchair Illini podcast a small part of your day. And I definitely appreciate you coming on. And best of luck covering this game and best of luck to your entire crew the rest of the way.
Yeah, thanks, man. Glenn and I are going out there, so excited for my first trip to Bloomington, and I'm hoping to take in a basketball game at some point. But I think this is going to be a pretty insane environment to be at for a football game, sellout crowd, red out. I'm expecting it to be comparable to the Penn State game I was able to travel to last year, and the whiteout energy of that game. So it should be a lot of fun.
Go to Nick's English Hut in Bloomington, Indiana, and
Okay.
get the Stromboli. It's unbelievable. And it's a great atmosphere. A lot of great Indiana college kids go to that spot as well. So that's
Gotcha.
my food plug of the week for Indiana in my limited experience going to Big Ten University City. So Tristan, enjoy that trip. Thank you to you guys for listening to the Armchair Illini podcast and joining us on YouTube. So thank you, Tristan, and thank you guys. Like, share, and subscribe. ILL, INI. Thank you, Tristan.
Thank you.